Welcome to the Special Education Inner Circle podcast. I'm your host, Catherine Witcher, founder of the Master IP Coach Mentorship and Network. And today's been an exciting day. I just got done with our first kickoff meeting for the Master IP Coach Mentorship. And it's our first cohort of 2024. And it was just an amazing time of really connecting with parents and teachers who have the hope and the determination to change special education outcomes, to really work together as a team to make this happen. But they need more strategies. They need more resources, and they want to do special education differently. In fact, that's probably why you've been tuning in to the Special Education Inner Circle podcast. It's to get those things that are just a little bit different than what you have been doing before. So I wanted to share with you something that we went over in our kickoff meeting. And if you're thinking like, what is this Master IEP Coach mentorship thing? I want to know more. Just head over to masteriepcoach.com. There's some downloads for you. There's information for you. Everything you need is there. So masteriepcoach.com has the information. So let me just go over 5 questions that as a Master IEP coach, you're looking at the IEP from a bigger perspective. We're looking at things not just as isolated issues that are happening, but we're looking at this as what is going wrong in the big picture when we're struggling with supporting a student through their school day. So when we're struggling to support this child, the first thing, this is the first of 5 questions that I want you to ask is, what are the top 3 areas of the IEP that you wish you could fix? So I know that when things are not going well, you might have a list of 10, 12, 15 different things of like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. All these things are wrong. But if we don't narrow it down, we're not going to be able to streamline our solutions to get the fastest results and to make sure that we get unstuck. We need to get unstuck. So if you had to pick 3 out of the list of things that you know are going wrong, if you had to pick 3, what would those 3 things be? And I want those 3 things to be things that would cause a domino effect in a positive way in changing the IEP. So sometimes we get hyper focused on little things like, oh, we could fix this quickly and we could fix this quickly. And here's a little fix and a little fix. And we have all these little things that are happening, but we're not looking at the big picture of if we really worked on. So thinking through and making a list of everything that is, probably not right in the IEP, but then picking the top 3, really important. Now, how to pick those top 3, that's something that we go over in the mentorship to make sure that we're really leveling up our leadership and getting the maximum result when we do bring something to the IEP team to work on. Now, the second question that you're going to ask yourself is, why do you think that these things are so troublesome? Now, you might have just went, it's obvious. No, it's not. Here's why. What you think is obvious is not obvious to other people. Also, when you're collaborating with other people in our special education community, the reason that one area like reading might be troublesome in one school or in one placement or for one child, it's going to be different for somebody else. It could be something as simple as, well, the, certified reading instructor has actually been out on maternity leave and we've had a sub all the time. That might be the problem, or it could be something much different. So why do you think with these top priorities, why are these things troublesome? What are some of the root causes of these 3 top priorities? Okay. Now I want to know, here's the third question. And this is one of the most difficult questions to answer for most people, because we're used to thinking about what is possible inside of our school system, and we're not thinking what is possible outside of what we've already seen. Meaning that our third question that you're going to ask is, do you have ideas on how we could fix these things in the next 90 days? And I want those ideas to be big and different, and maybe something that hasn't been seen before. Or maybe it is something simple where you're like, no, like I know the resources are there. Like, let's just stick with this as a solution. But when you allow yourself to think bigger and to say, okay, like what are some possible solutions for this? What are some big ideas? And we start to marry what is possible to what is probable, then we can still come up with a new solution that helps move special education forward. Kind of get us out of the dark ages of always doing the same things over and over and over. So I want you to think big when I say, what are some possible solutions that we could implement in the next 90 days to solve this problem? And don't limit yourself to the current resources that are in the school system. Our fourth question that you're going to ask is, what happens if we don't address this? That's a conversation that a lot of times somebody's having in their own head. Like we're thinking, maybe as a parent, you're like, if we don't get this taken care of, this is not going to be good. Like, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, like we can't keep this going. But you're not sharing this piece with the team. And the team has a lot of things on their plate also, and they're not thinking down the line. They might, a lot of times the IEP teams are in kind of crisis management all the time. They're trying to balance all of the things that are going wrong. So they're not thinking like this is a priority, because if we don't take care of this in the next 90 days, we're on the trajectory for something that is really going to be a bigger problem. So what happens if we don't address this in the next 90 days? What are some of the downfalls that are going to be pretty obvious if we don't start addressing this? And then the opposite of that, that's our fifth question that you're going to ask. The opposite of that is, what is possible in the next 90 days? Like there are things that could be implemented that 90 days from now, we could see some significant progress in an area that maybe we haven't seen progress in a long time. Maybe we're going to have more opportunities for inclusion in different activities than what has been, possible currently. Maybe we'll have more opportunities and more possibilities because we're going to work on some skills that will, I'll give you an example. A lot of times this happens, let's see, right now we're in January. So we're going to be thinking about spring sports, or maybe there's going to be like a spring concert band, and the student wants to play sports or wants to be in the band or wants to be in a choir or wants to do these things, but they're lacking some of the foundational skills to make that a successful experience. But if we look at it now, what can we do to work on these skill areas that a child is struggling with to give them more opportunities 90 days from now? What are some of the things? Maybe there's going to be field trips coming up. Maybe there's going to be a field day. A lot of schools do field days at the end of the year, and it's not always a great experience for a child. Those are just some seasonal things. And no matter when you're listening to this or what season you're in, there's something that could absolutely be put on a totally different path 90 days from now if we start to address this. So we have to look at the negative of what happens if we don't address this. Where are we going to be at in 90 days? And then what is possible in those 90 days? So let me just go ahead. I'm going to repeat these 5 questions real quick. And remember, you can get all of the information about what the Master IEP Coach Mentorship is, how to dig in. I would love to dig in with you on these questions and help you become the person at the IEP table who's leading these conversations. You can do that as a parent, teacher, admin, or therapist. People become a Master IEP Coach sometimes just for themselves. They're just like, I want all the Master IEP Coach things just for me because I need to be the best in my role at the IEP table. Some of you are going to be like, I want to be the best at my IEP table, but I also want to start a business and I want to help parents through the IEP process and I want to get paid for my expertise. No matter which lane you're in, you start with the Master IEP Coach Mentorship. And again, you can get that information at masteriepcoach.com. So here's your 5 questions. When things are going wrong with the IEP, you're going to ask, what are the top 3 areas of the IEP that are a priority that need to be fixed? So it creates a domino effect in the right direction. Why do you think those areas are troublesome? What are some of the specific problems that are happening in those areas? Do you have ideas? Brainstorm big. Don't forget, brainstorm big on those. What are some ideas of how we can fix that? What's going to happen in 90 days if we don't fix this? And what's possible? What might just be possible if we start to work on this now, and then 90 days from now, we're seeing a shift and this is no longer a struggle, but it's now become a celebration. I hope to see you inside of the next Master IEP Coach Mentorship. And remember, Our IEPs that we are building for our students are meant to provide an appropriate education that meets their unique needs and prepares every child for further education, employment, and independent living. I'll see you guys next time.